think you say in the name of Jesus. But that's a whole other story.
Yes, say in the name of Jesus if you're getting baptized.
Yeah, I think it is. Hi, welcome to Breaking PSYCHles. This episode is called PSYCH Major because we are both psychology major students.
Yes.
And we both have a personal interest and passion for the study of human behavior, which is what psychology is. We are here with Andin Dubgima.
Yay.
Dubgima, if you say it with an accent.
Yes.
Dubgima. And we just want to know, where are you from? And where did you grow up?
So I'm from Cameroon,
Okay.
mainly Bamenda. I grew up here. I came here when I was really young, so I was mostly raised in America.
Okay. But you were born in Cameroon.
I was born in Cameroon.
Hey, that's what's up. And do you feel like your parents are more Americanized, or are they more traditional?
They're very, very, very old school.
Very.
Like, they're really old school. They're that, they're lenient, but I wouldn't say my parents are strict, but my parents, they want us to be, our true selves so we can go out there and make it by ourselves.
Gotcha. Do you think that coming from Cameroon and having the cultured parents that you have has had a positive impact on the person that you grew up to be?
Yes, of course. But with me, like, it takes a nation to raise, one person. Yeah. So it's like, I wasn't just raised by my parents. I was raised by my aunties, my uncle, my grandma, my siblings. So it's like each person has made an impact on who I am today. So, yeah.
And that's something I really noticed in the African culture, particularly the Nigerian culture, that it is a village that is raising the kid, and everybody plays a role in making sure that the children are growing up to be stand-up citizens. Yes. And that's something that we do lack here in America, unfortunately, that sense of responsibility for everybody to make sure that this child is acting right. You see a lot of times in the society that we live in today, people see bad things happen and they just let it happen.
Yes.
When I was in Nigeria, oh no, if the lady down the street see you acting up, trust and believe she gonna say something to you, and then she gonna take it back to your mama or your daddy, mm-hmm. and they gonna say something. So that accountability is something that is very rich in the culture of, I'm sure, Cameroon and Nigeria.
Yeah, of course. I mean, and that's what Africans always tell you. Like, when you go out there, you're not just representing yourself, you're representing the whole family.
Yeah.
You're working not just for yourself, but you're working to bring everybody out, to help everybody else.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
Powerful. What made you want to choose psychology as your major?
So basically, with having a psychology major, you can do a lot of things. And also, like, I'm a public speaker. I like talking to people. Okay. So I can fit in any setting. So it's easy for me to assess people's, like, how people act. Like, it's easy for me to approach people. So I feel like psychology will be my biggest niche. Okay. And also, compared to all my classes, I'm doing 10 times way better in psychology. I'm actually putting an effort into that class. Not that I'm not putting effort into my other classes,
but this is one that you actually like.
You
can, when you get an assignment, it's like you can engulf yourself in it and not feel like, oh my God, I gotta do this.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel the same way. Like, I always say psychology kind of found me, because I didn't really think about psychology. I always wanted to be a lawyer. I had in my head that I was going to be a lawyer, because people had told me my whole life that I'm like the best arguer out there. But then I realized I don't want nothing to do with that side of life, because that would just stress me out more than I already am stressed out. I have anxiety already, and I don't want any more. So when I took a psychology class in high school, I really liked it. I really enjoyed every assignment that we had. And so that kind of changed my mind for college, where I was like, okay, maybe I can study psychology. And like you say, you can do so much with psychology. Yeah. You can use that to propel you in so many different areas of life. For example, you can become a clinical psychologist, you can become a therapist, you can become a school guidance counselor, you can become a lawyer, you can become so many different things once you find out what exactly about psychology fits with what it is you're trying to do in the long haul. A question that I feel like is not really taken into consideration a lot is the idea of friendship and relationships. So what can you tell me friendship means to you? Because when you're in college, you rely heavily on your peers and your friends to kind of get through the process of what your parents don't really understand or comprehend as far as identity and all of that. So what do you think that word means?
I mean, like, don't let your friends, I'm not saying like friends is bad, but don't let them like mislead you, because
Okay.
sometimes you can get carried away
Okay.
and you can miss a step. You know, with life has steps and has specific roads that you have to go to meet your specific destiny. So
Mhm.
it's like your friends are only there to add on to where you want to go. So once you allow your friends to overrule, it kind of takes a toll on like where you're supposed to go, and it kind of moves you back. So you have to be able to manage like your social life and like your school life, and that's what I struggled with. But now it's like I know what I'm going
You getting
through.
there.
Yeah.
You getting there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree. The relationships that you build, especially when you're in college, play a major role in your success or your failure. And a lot of people will say that failure has to do with the decisions that you make, but it's more about the people that you surround yourself with. Because if you surround yourself with people who are motivated and who have a goal to get to, you kind of encourage yourself to have goals to reach. But when you're around people who don't really know where they're going, you sit there and you kind of question everything that you're doing, and then you become stagnant. So, you know, friendship and relationships, because it's not just about friendships too. You go to college, you meet, you know, a love interest, and that can either keep you on track or take you off track. I've seen a lot of people go through this college who started off very motivated, very determined, and then a relationship comes along and poof, grades go down, interest in going to class goes down, and even the retention to stay in school is eliminated because you have now this whole life that revolves around another person.
Yeah.
And I feel like as young people, we get wrapped up in people instead of our goals and our destiny,
That's
and we get lost. So
I mean, there's a saying that, you know, show me who your 5 friends are, and I'll tell you who you are. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, once you surround yourself with business-minded people, with goal-oriented people, those are the people that are going to push you to even do better. Another thing is, failure is not bad. Like, people feel like failure is the end of the world, and oh my gosh, I failed. But it's like, no, failure is basically telling you, like, no, let me backtrack, and let me look at what I did. You know what I'm saying? Like, failure is basically telling you, like, no, I think you missed a step. Let's go back and then come forward.
Yeah.
So
that's true. That's a good point. So what do you feel is the hardest thing about being a college student?
managing your time, like literally, like especially when you're involved in school, like you gotta be able to like really prioritize your time, because sometimes like something will come along, and another thing with PG is there's always stuff going on. So you have to be able to like, oh my gosh, I have to put my classes first rather than to go to this fun thing that's going on, you know?
So true.
So it's all about managing your time and also knowing who you are as a person, because if you don't know who you are, when you go into college, people are going to tell you who you are. People are going to try to try to give you an ideology of who you are. But if once you know who you are as a person, it's going to be easy for you.
Yeah. And during this time, you're finding yourself. You're trying to discover who you are. So it's very important to have a basis to go off of. You know, you take the morals and the values that come from the homes that you come from or the experiences that you've had, and you apply them to what it is you want out of this life. And I feel like a lot of the times we're kind of voluntold what we want, even when it comes down to parents telling you have to go to college. There are some people who have no interest in college. They come through this school because they're forced to, and then they fail out or have to repeat a class 6 or 7 times because they have no interest in being here. And I think that it takes for someone to understand, like, I want to be in college, I want to do this, and I want to get to a point where either I graduate, I transfer, I use this as a tool or resource for a certificate or whatever it is that the person's going through. You have to have that determination ahead of time. You can't come into college really by being forced to, and then expect to succeed because that's what people do. No, you have to have the willpower and the determination to get through, because like, this college stuff is no joke. There's financial aid, there's your grades, there's knowing the system of how do I actually get my credits to apply to this so that I can transfer to another institution. You have to be educated. You got to call, especially with these HBCUs, you got to call 10, 15, 30 times before somebody picks up the phone. And that's hard. Yeah. And it discourages a lot of people. I know it discouraged me many times where I'm just like, F this. I don't even want to do this no more.
And like I said, it's now that I'm actually, because I have felt a lot, like, mind you, like, but I always look at failure and smile, because, you know, it's not the end of the world again.
That's true.
And also the mistake that I did was I allowed my parents to overrule my life. I allowed them to, like, tell me what to do. But it's like, at the end of the day, like, it's going to be you, yourself, and you, like, it's not going to be anybody else once you out there struggling. Your parents not going to do that for you. So you have to, when you're at the age of like 20, 19, 18, those are your pivotal age where you have to try everything. You have to, you want to do everything now instead of waiting till later, because then you're going to regret it. So try to focus on yourself now, because nobody's going to be there when you're by yourself.
Yeah, you gotta wake up as you and go to bed as you. They ain't writing them papers for you.
And another thing is, don't try to be somebody that you're not. You know, like sometimes, you know, people have this mask, you know, like, oh, let me act different when I'm here, and then let me act like, no, you have to be 100% authentic you. So that's
very important. Very important. Authenticity will save you a lot of heartache, because eventually you're going to wake up and the mask is going to be so beat up and you're going to be so tired of wearing it that you're going to have to say, listen, I am who I am. The people around me are either going to love or hate me. Exactly. And that's it. What would you tell 13-year-old Andon? Because I'm sure you're not the same person you were when you were in your young teen years.
Stop being stubborn.
That's pretty good advice.
Stop being stubborn. Honestly, like, when I was 13, I was already doing a lot of things, like cooking and cleaning, and like at 13, I was used to everybody, you know, and then do this and then do that, and then so it's kind of like, you know, I always wanted to go out and play and have fun. So it was like, no, the things that they were teaching me at 13 was to help me now, and I didn't see that. So I always I had like a whole fear, like, oh, I want to go outside, I want to go with my friends. But it's like, I'll tell myself to not be stubborn and to exercise patience.
Good advice. Good sound advice to your 13-year-old self. I remember when I was 13, I was very introverted. I was very into my own head. So I would probably tell myself to just get out of my own head.
And that's the thing. I was too sociable. Like, you think I'm sociable now? Like, my 13-year-old self was talking to strangers, everybody in the 9 yard. And my parents, so I wish it was actually vice versa for me. I wish I was more to myself, because it kind of like, sometimes when you're too sociable, it's not always good. You know, sometimes you need some space also. But once you're too sociable, you never get time to yourself, because everybody's always going to want your time, but you have to be able to, like, tell people, like, no, I need some me time. I need to, you know, rejuvenate.
So why did you decide to attend community college specifically versus going to a university or not going to college at all?
Actually, it's a funny story. My dad actually, because I wasn't doing well at a period, and my dad told me to just stop going to college. Like, period. Like, if my parents were paying for my college tuition, I would have been out of college 2 semesters ago. Yeah. But it's like, they didn't pay for my college, and that's where, like, you know, and it's cheaper. You know, I got so many scholarships in community colleges that, like, my parents didn't have to do anything. It was honestly my decision to go to school or not. With the universities are 10 times more expensive, but it's beneficial because you get your bachelor's. It's more exposure, you know. Okay. But once you go to a community college, it's helping you when you go to university. You know, it's like like a train type of college is like training you for a bigger thing.
Okay.
So
Got you. It's definitely cheaper.
definitely.
It's definitely a more personal environment that allows you to build the sort of connections that you would kind of have to fight for in a larger institution or a university. So I can definitely relate to that, because I was definitely against going to community college. Like, I was going to New York, I was going to NYU, I was going to St. John's, I was going anywhere but a community college. And then once I came here, I'm like, okay, like, I had this whole idea of what college is supposed to be like, and it's not a right way or a wrong way. It's just what is best for you. And being a broke student from the hood, you know, it makes sense to go to community college. I recommend that all students who don't really have the financial resources to go to college to consider going to a community college, because you're going to pay half the money. You're going to build close-knit relationships. You can still transfer to a university, which may be accompanied by scholarships and things like that, but don't sleep on community college, because I definitely did for some time, and then reality slapped me in the face and I realized that it was a pretty smart decision. To kind of wrap up, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Ooh,
Ballin'! No.
Nah, actually, it's crazy because, like, if you ask a regular teenager or a 20-year-old, like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? They will be like, oh, got a family, got a big house, got a car. But honestly, I want to help as many people as I can. My goal is to leave a mark on earth before I leave. So I see myself, like, in Africa in a way.
Okay.
Like, and I've dreamed, I've imagined it. Like, I want to help so many people because I feel like our society needs help.
For sure.
And, you know, not rest in peace, R.I.P. Nipsey, but he's like opened my brain to a lot of things that I haven't realized. You feel me? So it's like, I want to be, you know, wealthy and all that, but at the end of the day, I want to, you know, I want to feed the poor. I want to do something that when I sleep at night, I'm satisfied.
You feel
and
accomplished.
it's helping people.
Yeah.
So in 5 years, I want to be helping as many people
As possible.
as possible.
That's really nice. When was the last time you were in Cameroon?
Last summer.
Oh, good. That's pretty.
True story. I went to go see my mom.
Okay.
And I taught a class for 3 weeks of kids. It was the best experience I've ever had.
That's really nice. Yeah, I traveled to Nigeria in 2017, and that experience really opened up my mind to, like, the fact that I'm African. I don't know my ancestry yet. When I get some bread, I'm gonna make sure I find out where I'm from, but I felt at home. And I know for a fact that my life is going to connect me back to the motherland in many ways, whatever way that may be. You know, I'm letting God lead that direction, but I'm going to have to definitely make sure that I leave some sort of remnants of myself in the motherland. And hopefully I am Nigerian, because I mess with the Nigerian. I know y'all Cameroonians and Nigerians, when it comes to this jollof rice stuff, y'all try to, you know, whatever, but I've had both, and team Nigerian jollof rice, team Niger all the way. Sorry, Ghanaians and Cameroonians and Sierra Leoneans. Seasonings are just
y'all don't be putting garlic and ginger like we do.
I don't know. We might have to have a cook-off or something. I just feel like I've always been connected to the motherland, and like people around me, friends and strangers. Somehow I always get around some foreigners, and it's like...
Have you noticed that, like, majority of the successful Africans, they always look back at their roots. That's why Africans always tell you, when you're doing something, look back at where you come from.
Yeah.
It's going to motivate you to do better.
Yeah.
So if you have that mentality...
And it's part of your identity, because I was talking to a friend of mine, and the reality is the problem that we lack as Black Americans is that we don't really have our true history.
A culture.
And we don't have a culture to connect back to, except for the Black culture that is in America, which is not true to what our real history is. So, you know, it's very important to me, and that's definitely an investment I'm going to make, to find out where I'm from, because right now I identify with the Nigerian culture because I've dated a Nigerian for a long time, but I don't know where I'm from. I could be Cameroonian. I might have to switch up off the Nigerian jollof and go back home to, you know, my roots. I need to find out who I am, because that's going to play a major role in me feeling like I have complete understanding of who I am as an individual. And we lack that here in America, but it's something that being around, you know, Africans, I have a deeper appreciation for the culture because it's mine. And whichever country I'm going to find out that I am, it's still home, Africa. And it's the home of the whole world, basically, because this is where it all originated. And people don't realize how important it is to get back to where it all originated. All right, so I just want to say thank you so much for coming on to Breaking PSYCHles. I know this was a short and sweet little conversation, but I think it's important to understand that as psychology students, we really take the time to like get to the nitty gritty of stuff. And I know a lot of people don't like that because, you know, scratching the surface is so easy, but going deep into the roots of everything can be hard, can be painful, can be difficult and confusing. But in order for you to gain a better understanding of what your purpose is on this earth and what it is that you're supposed to be doing with the short amount of time that you have here on earth, you have to get to the root of everything. That means the root of communication, the root of relationships, the root of who you are and your identity, what your goals are, because college may not be for everybody, but it is a resource and a tool that can help you get educated about life and educated about the systems of life and educated about identity in itself. Because if you don't know who you are and you don't know where you're going, you really don't have a voice in this world, and you're really not going to reach your full potential and have the impact that you're supposed to have by chasing after your destiny. So shout out to everybody that's watching and listening, and hopefully we're making an impact on at least somebody's life where they can watch these videos and feel like they have something more to give. Because as Andon said, helping people is the answer to peace and to just feeling worthy. You know, you can always receive things from people, but when you give and you know that it made an impact and you know that people know that it made an impact, you go to sleep at night with a smile on your face and wake up ready to tackle the next day. So any final words to the viewers?
Continue to give, because then like once you give, the next person's gonna give, and it's like a domino effect. I call it a domino effect. You know, like it's a constant cycle. And also like the things that you do now, just know that karma always comes back to you. You know, if you do good, you get good back. If you do bad, it's gonna come back around. So I just want to say, be your true self. Yes. And what you think matters too, because if you think bad, badness will follow. And if you think good, goodness will follow. Try to, you know, it's hard. Push out the negativity, try to stay positive, and try to think of solutions instead of the problems. Because as my man Jay-Z said, I got 99 problems, but my mind is not one. Okay? Okay. Bye. Bye. See y'all next time.